Sadly, we do have some mangy cats that, well, I think they could use a dose of wild garlic. So, James, if you wouldn't mind foraging for some, and maybe we can throw it out to the lions. Of course, we would never do that. And I wonder if these cats would eat something like wild garlic if they came across it. It would definitely help with the smell that is coming off of these cats at the moment. They are very, very stinky. There's the most bizarre smell around the Nkuhumas today. And Jamie mentioned it this morning as well. It smells like fish. I don't know if it's the carcass that smells like that or what on earth has happened here, but it is not very pleasant, unfortunately. But you can see that the Nkuhumas are fast asleep, as they would be on a hot, sunny summer's day. But they don't look too hot. There's not a huge amount of panting going on. And I suppose that's also because even though their bellies are full, they're not as distended as they were a couple of days ago. So I'm sure that buffalo carcass must be almost done. But I don't even know if they've pulled it out of the drainage line. It was very, very difficult to try and, of course, have a look at it. Because the day before, they'd dragged it right into a very hard area to have a look at. But I don't think that there's too much left. Now, there's 3 adult lionesses here, and all the cubs are laying about in between them. So I suspect that the youngest lioness and Amber Eyes and Mr. Informal are just off into the distance somewhere, probably lying just a little bit away. And we see that quite often with Amber Eyes and the youngest lioness. They seem to enjoy each other's company quite a bit, even though they love the rest of the lionesses and they all have strong bonds between each other. It's like you always have a favorite. They probably just maybe have a better connection than the others. Maybe the common denominator with the 2 of them is that they don't have cubs. And the other 3 lionesses, the ones we're looking at, of course, have had lots of little cubs, but fast asleep. I reckon that lioness is probably going to move as her head is now in the sun. You can see as it starts to drop a little bit further down towards the horizon, the sun is starting to creep in, so she might shuffle. So we might get a bit of excitement, a little bit of movement. But remember, this is, of course, a live safari, so we'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions about these gorgeous cats, you're welcome to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can send us an email, questions@wildearth.tv. Like I said, myself, James and Jamie love to have chats with you, so please send on some questions. There's a big stretch. Oh, I'm just fiddling with my game drive comms. So I want to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. There's a lot of chattering going on today, and hopefully means that there's something exciting out and about. There we go, a couple of the cubs rolling around, turning themselves over now. But no, not for too long though, just a quick scratch. Maybe a fly was biting it or an ant. And then, of course, back to sleep again. We probably won't stay with these cats for too long because I suspect that we're going to sit and watch sleeping cats for the next hour at least. So we might go and have a scratch and, like I said, check some of the big dams and have a look and see if there's any buffalo wallowing away in them, or perhaps a herd of elephants coming down to drink. And then we will come back a little bit later. As we sit here, and I said that they were lucky they were feasting on a buffalo. Dave, you were wondering that in desperate times, will these lions catch smaller prey? Hello, girl. Oh, I love it when they do that. Will they catch smaller prey such as squirrels and hares and all those things along that line? Of course they will. They will indeed. Especially these younger cubs as they start to learn. I'm waiting until we see them catch a francolin and we just see a ball of feathers in the air. That'll be quite exciting because we've seen a couple of francolins and spurfowls take some risks and, come quite close to the pride as they're lying about, either to, feast on the maggots that we often see on the carcasses, or even, just, I don't know, living dangerously, keeping life interesting. Maybe it's a, what do you call those things now, VM? Initiation. There we go. Maybe it's initiation of some sort of a Franklin's that we don't know about, to walk past the lions. Now, I wouldn't have been too concerned 2 months ago because the cubs were very clumsy and didn't quite know what they're doing. But now they are well established. They've got good muscle tone. They have practiced balancing on all the trees, and their stalking technique has gotten much better. So if I were a Franklin, I'd be very careful. And of course, an adult will go after anything. I've seen lots of footage of lions actually going for vultures. Can you believe that? At watering holes or even at carcasses. So even a vulture has to be careful, and they will feast on them if they are desperate. And I've forgotten which documentary, I can't remember which documentary it was, but it was probably a documentary taken about 10 years ago, but it was about this male lion that was almost starving to death, and he went after a sleeping hyena. He snuck up to a hyena that was just having a nap and actually took it down and feasted upon it, which is unusual. Now, with all the rain that we've had, you've obviously spotted it with all the lovely lush green vegetation that is around. Unfortunately, it's, of course, increased the tick population. So during the summer months, and especially once you've had a bit of rain, it's not uncommon to see a couple more ticks on the lions. Like everything else, the populations, the rain sort of induce the mating rituals of the various different animals. And of course, when that comes about, you get lots and lots of, little animals, including the ticks. And I wonder if James is actually, as he's been walking through some of this longer grass, if he's actually picked up any ticks or walked through a tick nest. And I hope he doesn't, because it's never fun to try and get all the little ticks off of your body. Now, the little lion whose head is hidden by the log, that's the little floppy-eared girl. And every now and then she rolls over, and you can see how her belly is just completely missing hair. You can see a little bit. And I'm very concerned about her, because it doesn't seem to be getting better just yet. And I just hope that she is going to be able to overcome this. She is a fighter, as you've all said before, and we've witnessed it. She is indeed a fighter, but look how tattered her ears are. But not so tattered that her ear still flops. She's sort of lost that now. As soon as the swelling went down, it went back to its normal self again. And I thought that was quite a cute feature that she had. And it's again, when identifying different animals, that's a unique feature that little lioness has. And it's something that you would have been able to identify her by. But fast asleep. Just twitching their ears. And that seems to be all that's going on out here this afternoon with the Nkuhumas. You can see all their ears look a little bit tattered. Now that could be a combination from the ticks or even just the flies that are about, and they will bite. There's lots of biting flies at the moment. Sometimes you see it with your dogs, how their ears start to bleed, and of course you know that that's the flies. Now, Saz, you were wondering, why don't we see as many male lions in a coalition as we see female lions in a pride? And Saz, that's just because the females are more social than the males. Obviously, it's a matriarchal system that you have within a pride. And then, of course, the coalition of males, they come and go. That will change a number of different times. It depends, of course, on how long that pride will stay together. And normally, you'll only see one male lion. Up here, coalitions are quite common, though, in the Sabi Sand. And the biggest coalition, I think, was the Mapochos, the 6 male lions. And then, of course, the Birminghams were 5-2. But those are exceptional coalitions. Even though we see it up here quite often, it's actually not that common to see. Like I said, normally it's just one male, maybe 2 males. But we're very, very spoiled to see such large coalitions of lions in the Sabi Sand. They're very, very lucky. But then, as you've seen with the Birmingham boys now, is that it has changed. they've completely split up, but they still greet each other when they see each other, but they've sort of spread themselves out to sort of cover a bigger territory, I suppose. And I think it was quite clever of them. The only thing that, of course, you need to worry about is that if all of a sudden 4 young male lions came in and it was just Mr. Mfumo with the Nkuhuma Pride, he would not stand a chance facing them all on his own. When his brothers have gone off looking after the Torchwood Pride, maybe just, popping past the Styx Pride or any of the other lions. Oh, there we go. He can see her belly. So then they, of course, that's of course the negative side of what the Birminghams have done, how they have split up now. They don't have the strength in numbers. But that hair is completely gone. There are a couple of ticks you can see on her belly. And she should be able to groom herself. So I wonder if she's just not feeling tired and weak. But that can't be very nice. She looks so itchy. Oh, I'm so sorry, my girl. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that the rain will help her immunity push through. Like we said, it's not the first time she's pushed through something. She's definitely a fighter. Oh, look at her little tail as well. Now, looking at having a closer inspection of these ticks. Donna, you were wondering, do you get paralysis, or do we get paralysis ticks down here like you get in Australia? That's a good question. I'm not sure. One of the main diseases that are brought about here by ticks, and particularly by the bond tick, is I was going to say bilharzia for a second, but it's not bilharzia. I was talking about bilharzia the other day. Sorry about that. Biliary or tick bite fever. And that is caused by the ticks, and that can attack their liver, which is not good. It makes you feel exceptionally lethargic. But I don't know if it causes paralysis. When we get it as humans, it's horrendous. You get a migraine, you feel a bit dizzy, so you almost get vertigo, you're nauseous, and you just feel absolutely exhausted. It feels like you haven't slept in about 6 weeks, and your energy is just completely drained from your body. But I don't know what the animals would feel. I don't know if they get similar symptoms. It's very difficult to try, because you can't just ask a lion, do you have a headache? Or are your paws sore? We don't know any of these things. Everything we know about animals is all just speculation. And we just sort of try and put theories together. But the being out here in the wild is just incredible. And you learn this after you've been doing it for long enough, is that anything that all the various books say, there'll be a situation at one point where you come across an animal doing something completely different to what everybody else has said in the past. And that's it. You've just got to learn for yourself. Take every experience and remember it, or take a note and form your own opinions. Look at those little crusty feet from walking through all of the mud. They don't look like they've been really focusing on grooming too much, though. They're not the cleanest that we've seen them, especially the little cubs. They've either gotten lazy on grooming themselves, or mom has been neglecting them a little bit. Look at this one, all very scruffy. And it is very important that mom does groom them, because you can imagine, and you know how difficult it is to get a child to have a bath at night. It's always a fight. Well, any bathing time with children is always an argument. And I suppose it's the same thing with the cats. We see them, the youngsters, resisting often when mom sort of grabs them by the scruff of the neck and pulls them closer and gives them a groom. They never look too impressed. But I think we're going to head away from these Nkuhumas now. We're going to go check a couple of dams where we've got a bit of light, and perhaps come back here a little bit later. But let's go back across to James again, who's walking around on foot. And I think he might have something with